What's up YouTube? For this video, let's talk about these sandals right here. As you can see, I got a pair of Birkenstocks. This model is called the Uji Sandals and I got them in the taupe colorway. These sandals retail for $150, which is admittingly pretty steep for a pair of sandals. But considering how trendy and popular they've been these days, it got me really curious as to why and how people would pay that much. So I just had to cop myself a pair to see what the hype was about. So I've had a chance to break these in for some time now, and I wanted to provide a thorough review, not just from the perspective of someone who likes fashion and footwear, but also provide some insight from a science/orthopedic standpoint, and talk about the performance aspect of these sandals. After all, my background as a physical therapist, I have worked with a lot of clients who deal with different types of foot problems, and I thought I'd provide my professional experience when it comes to reviewing these sandals in order to help you determine whether these sandals are worth that $150 price point. So in this video, we'll pretty much talk about the pros, the cons, talk about sizing and fit, and I'll give my overall thoughts. So with that being said, let's get into it. So let's go ahead and break down some pros first. Pro number one is I want to talk about the design of these straps. The leather straps on these sandals are very premium and very comfortable. So these Uji sandals have a double layered strap mechanism, whereas the deeper strap layer is made of a very soft nubuck leather, and then the top straps secure your foot in place, and it's made of a very soft suede. From a standpoint of comfort, the nubuck leather they used on the deeper strap is very comfortable, in a sense where it really feels like it's protecting your skin. One of my main concerns when it comes to two-strapped sandals like this is that this bottom strap in particular is at risk of irritating your skin. It's an area where there's a lot of surface tension and a lot of surface contact, so you are at risk of things like blisters and skin irritation. Personally for me, I have not come across any issue at all with my foot in contact with the strap. I think that's for a few reasons. Reason number one is that the strap is just very soft and gentle on your skin. And reason number two is I think this leather is very breathable so that there's no moisture buildup in that area. And so all in all, this nubuck leather just allows for a very soft glide along the top of your foot. And the fact that they added a double strap layer also really helps with that lockdown feel, which also adds to the comfort. Alright, pro number two is I want to talk about the comfort of the contoured footbed. All in all, this footbed provides pretty good support. This footbed is pretty much the Birkenstock's hallmark design that makes this brand what it is. And they pretty much implement this design in most, if not all, of their most popular models. But the way they did this contoured footbed has a couple of little subtle advantages. One noteworthy advantage is that the way they contoured the entire border of the footbed just allows your foot to really feel secure. You pretty much have a lot of stability along the sides, the back, and the front of the foot so that your foot's really not going anywhere once you're in it. Alright, pro number three, and this is going a little more in detail of the contoured patterns, but they do implement a little raised toe bar right here. This toe bar is really important for forefoot stability and forefoot control. This raised bar is basically a subtle surface for the balls of your feet to kind of rest on. And this actually provides a pretty significant advantage of dissociating your midfoot from your toes and your forefoot. This not only allows for even more stability and less friction and less glide of your foot, but it also allows and encourages extra intrinsic movement in your toes. And believe it or not, it is super important for your toes to be able to spread and to move very well. The freedom of movement in your toes allows for better balance, better weight distribution, and better proprioceptive input. So pro number four is piggyback riding the previous comment, but these sandals do come with a pretty wide toe box. The wide toe box allows for a lot more wiggle room in your toes, allows your toes to also move better. And personally, I feel like most, if not all, shoes should come with a wider toe box. When you see shoes that point inwards like this, it crams your toes together, which decreases toe movement. It just stiffens your joints. This is a long discussion for another day, but the fact that these sandals have the wide toe box really makes your toes feel breathable and move a lot more freely. Pro number five, this is a little more subjective, but I really do feel like from a style perspective, these are simple yet sophisticated. After having these in hand now, I can actually kind of understand why these sandals are so trendy. These go pretty well with any casual outfit and just elevates a casual outfit a little higher without the extra effort. So those were the main pros, but now let's talk about a few cons. Con number one is I want to talk about the midsole cushioning system. This sandal feels very rigid, and it does take quite a bit of a break-in period. As much as I praised how much stability the sandal provides, the trade-off is that this sandal does feel very stiff and firm, and it takes a while to break these in. They do utilize an EVA midsole, but personally, I don't even feel the cushioning or the responsiveness of this cushioning system. In a sense, the advantage of that is that if you were to step on something like really hard or sharp rocks, you won't feel that surface underneath your foot. But otherwise, from a regular casual walking standpoint, most people would probably prefer the likes of like Boost or React cushioning, where you're basically walking on a much softer and responsive surface. Con number 2 also relates to the rigid midsole, and that's the fact that there's really no articulation in the midsole either. As you can see, when I'm trying to bend the sandal, it is pretty stiff and requires quite a bit of force. The downside of that is that when it comes to a natural walking pattern, there should be a smooth ankle rocking motion from heel to toe. Your foot is segmented into 3 sections. You have your forefoot, your midfoot, and your rear foot. Naturally, when you're striking on your heel, you should rock heel to toe. Then at one point, you should be able to extend to the balls of your foot and your big toe, and that aspect of your walk is really neglected when you're wearing stiff sandals like these. So for the most part, when you're wearing these, and especially when you're breaking them in, you're almost feeling like you have to walk flat-footed almost. And that's because, again, there's no articulation or no bend, particularly in this mid to forefoot transition right here. It just doesn't bend as smoothly as I would like, which makes your walk feel a little stiff. To be honest, I feel like most sandals in the market anyway have a very similar design flaw, so it's hard to criticize it in these sandals when a lot of other sandals do that as well. But for the price point of $150, I was kind of hoping that they implemented a little more movement science behind the design of these sandals. Alright, con number 3 is that these sandals are inconvenient. And when I say inconvenient, what I mean is that these sandals are pretty much custom fitted to you and you only. Which means that if someone else wanted to just slide their foot in and take these for a short walk, they would have a lot of trouble doing so. These aren't just like any standard household slipper where you can just slide your foot in and go for a short walk, but rather these are custom, form-fitting, fashion-forward sandals, and they do take a couple of extra seconds to actually mold your foot in place, strap the straps in, and be locked in before you can actually take off in them. So just a heads up, when you're buying these sandals, you are not paying for convenience, but you're pretty much paying for a premium quality sandal that is custom fitted to you and no one else. So speaking of form-fitting sandals, I think this is a perfect transition to talk about sizing and fit. My general recommendation is to go down a half or even a full size. For your reference, I usually wear a 9.5. Most of these sneakers behind me are pretty much 9.5, and with these I went with a size 9 to 9.5, and it pretty much worked out for me. It might have given me a little extra wiggle room, and I probably could have gotten away with an 8.5 with these, but 9 worked out for me, so I would recommend going down about a half size. So here's how they do their sizing on the Birkenstock website anyway. First, you determine whether you want a wide sandal or a medium/narrow sandal. Then you choose a numeric value for the size. As you can see, they go in increments from 8 to 8.5, 9 to 9.5, 10 to 10.5, pretty much whole sizes to be honest. And for me, I went 9 to 9.5 and it worked out for me. If you have any doubts, they do provide a pretty thorough size chart and I felt like that was pretty accurate. Alright, so the main question is, are these sandals worth the retail price of $150? Personally, I would say it depends on what you value. From a quality and construction standpoint, you really do feel like you're getting a premium product when you get these in hand. From the quality of materials they use to the way they made the product, you can tell that they put a lot of thought into this design. These are also a very trendy sandal that looks great and can really elevate a lot of casual outfits. Now from a comfort standpoint, this is quite a bit of a double-edged sword. The leather straps in the upper definitely provide the comfort in lockdown, and then the way they design the footbed provides good stability, but the midsole is very stiff and rigid and lacks cushioning and responsiveness. So I can see these sandals being great for lounging or short walks, but when it comes to a very long casual walk, I can't vouch that these would make for great walking sandals. As long as you can endure a rigid midsole, then good for you, but otherwise there are a lot of cheaper sandals out there that provide way better responsiveness than these. So all in all, I would say you are paying for a high quality, well constructed, fashionable sandal as opposed to a comfortable performance walking sandal. I personally was lucky enough to find these for a little under $100, and I would say for right around the $100 price point, I am actually pretty happy with this purchase. But if I were to pay full retail price of $150, I would be a little bit upset or regretful that I didn't get a very comfortable walking sandal. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you at all a fan of Birkenstocks? And if so, do you have a pair? And do you think Birkenstocks will be trendy for years to come, or is this a fad that might soon die off? If you don't have a pair yet, do you feel like this video persuaded you for or against getting a pair? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so sound off in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, please do me a huge favor, hit that like button, it'll help me out a lot, and consider subscribing for more content on styles, sneakers, and science. While you're at it, check out my other videos here or here. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.